So today I wanted to talk about some pros and cons of what it means to leave the States and live nomadically for some time. I've been living nomadically for about 8 months and I've traveled throughout my life. I've studied abroad, I've lived in different states. So I have quite a lot of knowledge of what it means to be in different environments and how to adjust and adapt. But this is the first time in my life where I am living abroad. I left literally the day before Thanksgiving with my partner. And today I was reflecting on some pros and cons, and so I wanted to share some pros and cons with anyone in case it could be helpful if you are considering moving abroad, leaving the States, being nomadic for some time, um, being a black traveler, being a black queer traveler, being a slow traveler, so someone who doesn't want to be in a new city every week, a neurodivergent traveler, a traveler with chronic illnesses or chronic pain. Those are the lenses I speak from. So if you connect to any of those identities, this may be of use and may be helpful to you. So again, we're just going to talk about some pros and cons of living abroad, and I'm just going to speak from my personal experience, my personal pros, my personal cons. Um, yeah. So for a little bit more context, like I said, I left the States Thanksgiving, the day before Thanksgiving with my partner. We are international house sitters, so we travel the world and we do house sits. And if you're interested in that, I have resources for that down below. I will be honest and upfront. If you do click on that link, my partner and I think you get 25% off if you sign up for the platform that we use, which is called Trusted House Sitter, which is like an industry standard. A lot of great creators talk about Trusted House Sitter. And we were invited to the platform. So we were able to sign up through somebody else's referral code. So we just like to pass the love it on. So if you're interested in Trusted House Sitter, I can make a whole different other video about that. And just talking about what it means to be international house sitters, what it means to house sit as a couple, as a black queer couple. We'd love, well, I'm going to speak for myself. I'd love to talk about that. But there's resources down below if you're interested. So we get 2 months free if you sign up using our referral code, and you get 25% off because you do have to pay to be in the platform. Okay, so my pros and cons. So some pros and cons for me since leaving the States. So far I've been in Costa Rica and now I'm currently in Ecuador on the coast. And I've lived in different environments in each place. So in Costa Rica, I lived in a mountain town called Turrialba. I've stayed in some time in Limon, which is the coast. And I've been in Ecuador, so I've been in Quito, which is the capital of Ecuador, which is like a very hilly colonial style building, quiet town. I stayed in Cuenca, which is like the city, definitely more conservative, more churches, a little bit more to do, a little bit of younger crowd, but also we were in like El Centro, which is like the business district, and now we are on the coast in Manta. Our visa is up soon, so I won't be here that much longer, but we're in the coast and it's like a beach town, and beach towns are giving. So based off of all of that, just specifically talking to my nomadic experience, these are some of my pros and cons to living abroad. So I want to start with my pros. So some of the pros I've experienced since living abroad is a slower pace of life. Very affordable, very accessible. I will say Ecuador has been more affordable than Costa Rica. More at peace, and I'm more at peace because I can go slower. Most of my time is for me, so I can create, learn, reflect, plan from a sturdy place. So because it's just me and my partner, my time is dedicated to me most of the day. Obviously, my partner's working, I'm working, we both work from home. And listen, I'm bringing back the old school YouTube days. Like, I ain't even tidy nothing. Okay. I just felt called to record this video, so I recorded the video. So I can, what's the word? What am I trying to say? Yeah, I can, most of my time is for me. We both work from home. I, every night, write out my schedule for the next day, do some remote work. It doesn't pay the most, but it's something. And I'm not in a survival mode as much as I used to. I'm making the same amount of money here than I was in the States, and my money goes so much further. I still have debts, I still have bills, so more is going out than coming in, which is something I'm working on. But my money goes so much further here, even though I'm making the same amount of money. And my time is mine. Like, I'm a huge believer in like time freedom is such a luxury. And when you think about how much your time is capitalized between work, between social media, between social obligations, and just managing your interpersonal relationships, like there's so much time that you don't have for yourself, and I get overwhelmed very easily. So it's been really great to reset. Like, I feel like I found my voice as an artist, like so many things. I could also talk about that. I've just reconnected with my voice, reconnected with my spirituality, and I healed. Like, living in Costa Rica for like was it 3 months? 6 months, maybe 3 months, 6 months, had truly changed my life. I could talk about another video. Another pro is better quality of food. I honor that things can and will take time. Again, that all goes into time freedom and a slower pace of life. Survival mode always had me hustling and like trying to initiate a new business, a new idea every single week just to get some money, and that's not sustainable and often wouldn't work out for me. And I never had the opportunity and could never afford for things to take its time. Like, everything had to work, which creates pressure. And starting a business, pressure does not help. Some people have a story where like, oh, I had $100 to start a t-shirt business. That's not everybody's path. That's not everybody's role, and that's not necessarily my story either. But yeah. And my final pro is, actually, this is a very personal pro, so I'll actually keep this to myself. This was something I wanted to keep to myself. But so those are my pros in terms of living abroad. Just great financial, economic, creative, spiritual benefits. And I get to be with my partner. It's lovely. It's beautiful. Oh, and like in terms of house sitting, like we get to trial new homes. We get to connect with new pets, meet new people. Like, it's really beautiful to like, we've stayed in condos, we've stayed in mountain homes, we've stayed in houses. So it's been a very beautiful experience to be able to see how other people live in different environments and like trial a new home or trial a new like pet. Like, so me and my partner get to figure out the kind of life that we want to build for ourselves based off of like what we've experienced. And it's been really nice. Some cons. I don't want this video to be too long. So some cons. So some of the cons are cons, but I'm isolated from family and friends and queer community. There is queer community, from my understanding, in Cuenca and Quito, and I'm sure that they're in Costa Rica. We were in a very remote town, so I don't know. There is queer community around, but being Black and being queer, and then also, navigating chronic pain is just like, it adds so many elements. And I'm oftentimes always working because, again, I'm bringing in income, but I'm not making the most income. So I'm still worried about money. So that does steal some of my mental capacity, and I'm not as present in the places that I'm in because I'm still worried about money. So it's still, I'm not allowing myself to adventure and go out and connect with the queer communities that are around. And some of them, when people say queer, sometimes they just mean gay men. And I'm not a gay man. So I'm not a gay white man. Usually they mean gay white men is what I wanted to say. So just like in the States, there's usually spaces for gay white men, but there's not often spaces for lesbians or trans folks and things of that nature. So TBD, and it's partly me and it's partly like what's available. So second con, I'm still worried about finances because I still don't make enough. So that's me. That's a me con. That's a personal con. No central home, constant moving, not having a place that is ours, where we have and we have to leave, and where we have to leave constantly starting to get to me. So when I left the States, I told my partner, I said, I got 2 years on me. Because I know me. It takes me a while to get settled somewhere, and by the time I'm settled, I have to uproot myself. Luckily, we've been able to stay in one place like 2 to 3 months at a time, which is ideal for me. But at the end of the day, we still have to leave. We still have to pack up. Like, we get settled in a place, feel familiar, get comfortable, And then eventually we do have to leave because it's somebody else's home, or it's an Airbnb, or it's a rental. So that constant uprooting is starting to get to me. I'm just like, okay, so where's home? Like, I already miss my family, which I didn't realize I was going to miss my family and my friends to the extent that I do, and just like my network. But like, when it's just you, or just you and your partner, you really start to realize how important community is. And I'm just really understanding that. So home and community, like grounding, being rooted, is something that's starting to impact me, which is not something that I anticipated. So completely in this way. Like, mentally I anticipated it, but I emotionally didn't realize how it would feel, if that makes sense. I'm a very anyway. Language barrier. That's something that can be changed. I realize I don't enjoy that I can't express myself. There's the universal language of like love and open heartedness that I often connect with. Just being able to connect with people in a human experience is beautiful, but sometimes when it's like really needed, it's a bit hindering. And yeah, I just fully realize how frustrating it is when I'm unable to communicate myself in the way that I want to. But obviously that can be changed with taking Spanish lessons. Most of the countries I've been in speak Spanish, so I'm learning, I'm growing day by day. But that language barrier definitely adds to the isolation for the time being. So I'm not interested in exploring because money is tight, and the possibility of exploring, and the possibility of experiencing anti-blackness. So that is something that I have experienced quite a bit here in Ecuador. Anti-blackness, which I know there's anti-blackness everywhere, but I wasn't fully expecting to experience it the way that I do. There's this understanding that Afro-Ecuadorians or darker Ecuadorians aren't allowed in certain spaces just historically. And when you find yourself in those spaces today in 2026, no one will tell you you can't leave, but they will definitely make you feel unwelcome. And I'm not Afro-Ecuadorian. I'm a Black American. And before I even open my mouth, either people are following me around the store, or I would walk into the store. There's a mall here in Manta. It's been very egregious in Manta specifically. I noticed it's pretty rampant in more affluent neighborhoods or business districts, wherever the affluent white Ecuadorians are, is usually when I experience it the most. But when I'm in the hood, it's chill. Don't nobody care where I'm at or what I'm doing. But so classism and anti-blackness clearly exists everywhere. So again, like, these are some of my pros and cons of some of my experiences, but maybe a bit of my experience could be helpful to you in terms of like what to consider in terms of your finances. Like, if you can get remote work, get remote work. If there is a community you can come in and tap in with, do that. I will also say that a lot of the expat groups are older, retired adults, even the Black ones, African American groups. And that's just something I've come to understand, which I always need an elder. I always need a grown folk around to ask some questions. So that's very helpful. But when you're trying to get into the things of the thing, sometimes, it's good to have auntie around, but sometimes, you just want to key with your peers. I ain't you know what I mean? So yeah, things to consider. Anti-blackness. That may not be everyone's experience. Some people may not be around long enough to know, understand that, or experience it. I did a Afro-Ecuadorian tour where I learned historically about Afro-Ecuadorians in Ecuador. It was a great, great tour by an amazing man named Tony, who's based in Cuenca, who has a hostel. So I'll put his information down below. He also has a podcast. He interviewed my partner and I on his podcast. So again, I'll put his the podcast information on his information down there below. So definitely check that out. It was a great experience. Tony is a wealth of knowledge, and he is an Afro-Ecuadorian activist here in Ecuador, and he's committed to, giving a voice to the Afro-Ecuadorian community, advocating for them policy-wise, resource-wise, ensuring, diasporically we're all connected and staying connected and just in relation and in community with each other. So that was extremely nice. But those are some things I've experienced, some of my pros and cons. And yeah, just if you have any questions about moving abroad, living abroad, being nomadic, house sitting, let me know. I'd love to make videos or anything like that. But that's it. That's all I have to share. I'm Phae. See ya.